Spider-Man Miles Morales was an interesting game to say the least. The game's combat was more complicated and intricate, the story was shorter, and of course the web swinging was just as enjoyable as the first game. But in my personal opinion, I didn't enjoy this game as much as I enjoyed the first one. I think the main reason for this was the story and its relatively repetitive combat. I'm not saying this game isn't fun, because it is, and it's well worth your $60, but there were some circumstances where the game felt less enjoyable than the first one, and we'll get into all of that and more during my favorite part of all these videos, the breakdown. Obviously, there will be spoilers ahead, so just a warning to you people that have not finished the game yet. I'm going to talk about the ending of the game first. Honestly, the villain of this game just did not work for me. When Finn dies, I guess the game expects you to feel bad, but how am I supposed to feel bad when she literally just beat the shit out of me and tried to blow up my house? The first Spider-Man's deaths were so powerful, like Aunt May or Miles Morales' dad. They were both really beloved characters, and that's why when they die, I felt so sad. But in this game, they just throw all that shit out of the window and say, no, we want you to feel bad because your friend didn't listen to you and they just decided to blow up Harlem. The death and sorrow this game tries to convey just isn't there. Another issue I had with this game's story was the main antagonists. In the last one, you fought so many different antagonists, and big ones too, and it made you feel like Spider-Man was the underdog throughout the game. You fight Martin Lee, Dr. Octavius, Electro, Rhino, Kingpin, Taskmaster, Tombstone, Scorpion, Vulture, Silver Sable, Shocker, and Screwball. In Miles Morales, you fight Rhino 2 times, Tinkerer 2 times, and the Prowler 1 time. This doesn't mean the story wasn't interesting. It picks up where we left off and overall kept me pretty engaged in the story. I finished it in less than 24 hours and it was gratifying, and it left a good aftertaste. The story was there, and obviously I'm being nitpicky, but it definitely wasn't better than the first one. With Miles Morales' electricity and camouflaging abilities, the combat was more diverse this time around. There were so many different ways to approach fights, and that's what I liked about the combat. Throughout the game, the combat got more and more repetitive, and the Roxxon and Underground goons became more and more common. In the last game, Fist goons were more set aside for side missions, but in this game, most of the combat was focused around these smaller enemies, which I didn't enjoy. But I did appreciate the number of possibilities when it comes to these fights. It's probably the only thing that made this game's fighting enjoyable was the fact that you could take out multiple enemies stealthily, then maybe go in loud for a second and take out a couple of enemies, then go invisible and go stealth again. I think the most fun thing to do is to see how cool you could look while taking out multiple goons. The swinging was fun as always, and that's mainly why I played this game so much. I know I have a lot of negative things to say about the game, but nonetheless, the game was fun. The side content was much better in this game than the first one. They had the Friendly Neighborhood app and the music samples, just to name a couple. Most of the Friendly Neighborhood missions were decently lengthy and felt like actual story content, which was a good way to add length to the game in a non-lazy way. As expected, the game's graphics were fantastic. Even with the performance mode turned on, it looked about as good as most games. With a solid 4K resolution running at 60 FPS, I would say they did a good job at getting this game to run smoothly. I find it enjoyable to just perch on top of a tall building and look at the city and admire the game's amazing visuals. And then when you turn off the motion blur, the swinging looks so clear and crisp that it reminded me of playing the game on PC. In my experience, I genuinely enjoyed playing this game. I had a lot of negative things to say, but I still enjoyed it. I just think that it wasn't as good as the last one, and I was slightly disappointed by the story. If you would like to share your opinion with me, make sure to do that in the comments section down below. And don't forget to leave a like. Another thing I would like to add, I've been trying to revive my old Discord server and use it in a way to talk to you guys and share opinions about games that I've reviewed on my channel, or even let me know what games I should review next. If you're interested, check out the link in the description down below. If you like videos like this and want to see more, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because there's much more on the way.